We have about 10 minutes for discussion, so I would like to invite the audience to put forward questions, reactions to any of the speakers of the panel. Yes, Mr. Nistelrooy.
Very short question. EIT plus, why this name? And why it's not the EIT minus, or can you explain it? What do the words mean of the symbols?
We belong to part of EIT as climate group, but actually it comes from the name of program we created before EIT was created in Budapest. And the goal of this EIT Plus program was to create innovative Wrocław as whole and to attract the headquarters of EIT to Wrocław. And we were almost successful, but in final stage we lost against Budapest. So it was one of goals, and therefore the name EIT Plus was EIT and much more.
So any other questions in the mind of audience? Yes.
Okay, my name is Anas Tanach. I'm from Kajaani University of Applied Science, Finland. My question here, I heard from Christian in his presentation, if I remember right, about that city smart specialization. And here what I see that actually renewing the economy of these cities. Is this what we mean now by smart specialization, is renewing the local economies? Because we know that the transition of economy in Europe and let's say immigration of old industries. The second thing is about this kind of soft specialization like service. I think at least myself, I have sometimes a problem with that. Service is nice, but end of the day we need to make money to keep up the society and keep up the cities. So services, are they enough? Can we really consider them as smart specialization in terms of economy? Thank you.
Maybe I answer the first question right away. That is renewing local economies what we now consider to be smart specialization? No, but it's the challenge for many of our cities is actually the renewal of their economic base, and that's especially for the smaller cities in Central and Eastern and Southern Europe. Concerning the services, I mean, you can have a long debate about that, whether you need to make, I don't know whether whether mobile phones are made, if they're actually made in Finland, probably are some of them, but mainly in China, I suppose, but you still generate quite a lot of money from the activities in Finland, and they have business services, of course. But at Gijón, the Spanish example, I mean, they actually attract a lot of wealthy people to their city, and they attract a lot of income by a service economy. But of course, I would tend to agree with you that we cannot have a pure service economy. We need also to keep the manufacturing that we have, because that's also quite a lot of skills that we have there that we need to safeguard.
I certainly agree with that. I mean, you attract other sorts of investment by offering good services in your city, apart from anything else. But I think the scope for innovation in services, particularly public services, is very great, and it matters to achieve some of the goals we've set ourselves in Europe 2020. I mean, you know, climate goals need to be met by people changing their behaviour, as Christian was saying, and you know that may not be services, but it's that soft side. How do you get us to live differently? You know, work and live differently, because that's what we've got to do, and it's not just a technical solution.
I have another question. Do you think the city in itself is the main sort of high-tech innovation driver, or is it really the coexistence of academia and high-level research that happens to be most of the time in the cities, and that's the driver? Because if you look at some of the most innovative ecosystems built around Cambridge or Stanford or Heidelberg. They're not big cities, and yet these systems are the most innovative in the world and still thriving. So
maybe I wonder if Wim Hafkamp, if you provide your view as a professor, and how do you experience that?
Well, for one thing, yes, that's very recognizable, and yes, the thrust for the innovation, for the research, for the tech development is in that vicinity. In the, as Paul says, the sparks that fly between the academic community, the university people, and what happens in the business and the business development world. But that doesn't take place in the desert. That doesn't take place on the North Sea. You need attractive cities for people to want to be there. And that is a co-development as well, I think.
We have
just
a
question
for that. Yeah.
For the, you know, today we talk about smart specialization. We are here in the session of the cities, so we talk about the cities. But anyway, there won't be a city smart specialization chapter or initiative or whatever. So you will have to work in an innovative region. And who can give me some help? Because I might be lost somewhere in the city walls, between the city walls. But your power is in fact enabling parts of countries to join on, you know, on the development. So is this a split up policy, or are you coming into the smart specialization, or something else?
Let's go.
At least have the first go. I mean, I think the problem is it's not one or the other. It's not region or city, but regions, I think, have to recognise that. And I'm sure they already do, but there's an important need to recognise that, you know, their big cities are their brands and their key players, their star players in innovation, and therefore they need to invest and involve and try and exploit the opportunities for synergies in an integrated approach within cities. And I think that's often what's missing in the governance we have at the moment. We look at regions to innovate, and they spread the innovation money around their region. And sometimes they have a clash of mandates with their city, or political clash, and actually don't want anything to do and think, oh, the city can look after itself, it's got the university, we'll put all these incubators out and spread them around. And it's just missing a trick. I mean, it has a positive impact, of course it does, but it has a much, you know, we're not getting bang for buck in the way we should be.
I would like to invite the last question of the...
Yeah, I'm Markku Markkula, Committee of the Regions, coming from Aalto University in Finland. Actually, we got a lot of very nice presentations which have given good elements to what was the title, Cities as Innovation Hubs. So, but we are still really missing. So, what does it mean really that the city can the city political decision makers be committed to encourage innovation, invest more money from the city budget towards innovation, really take risk as well, go further to pre-commercial, innovative public procurement and so on. So this is my, in a way, point on this. So how to encourage the cities, and especially the decision-making in cities, to take much more active role with respect to what it's, because still it is, as we've heard today about the smart specialization. So my worry is really that regions and member states as well, they are looking for how to get as much money out of the cohesion policy as well as possible for their own region, not how really to use the money for European collaboration on creating something which then could be based on the smart specialized, could bring much added value to the others as well.
Thank you. Would any of the panelists like to briefly comment this? Just
I'll try very brief.
Yeah.
I think cities. The problem is that if you look at city level and regional level, there are different responsibility, different levers to act. Often, I come from a country, Sweden, where the cities don't have any powers in terms of research. But what they can do is, of course, facilitate for research to be there in the cities. They can make it attractive for companies to invest. They can make it attractive for universities to expand, make it easier for them, and make it easier for students to come to their cities, of course, and companies. So I think, again, I think this it's not either or one against the other. I mean, different responsibilities, but they have to match in some way, and especially when you think about long-term strategies, they must be aligned at regional and city, metropolitan. We need to think functional there.
But it's not just about, I mean, you still come back to this model of market innovation. And what we're trying to say is it's not just about market innovation. I mean, the example of Stockholm, of creating this, innovating tremendously around this new quarter of Hammarby, which has got so much innovative stuff in it. I mean, that's a sort of procurement, if you like. But it's not taking something to market and pre-commercialisation. It's piloting a new way of living and new systems for supporting living in a city. And, you know, congestion charging is another example. I mean, politicians go out on a limb against public opinion to initiate some very innovative, technologically innovative ticketing systems, congestion charging systems. And those are not the same model, but they're still innovation, I think.
Okay, thank you very much. And now it is time to turn to our rapporteur. And I think you have the biggest challenge of today to put together the discussion. How do you
I think it's not really easy. For me, it became clear that the normal functioning of cities and the normal functioning of economic innovation are two different processes. So they are two lives. And this is why it was important here to have this meeting, to try to bring these things together. I think cities must be part of normal innovation processes because they are one parts of the triple helix, as was shown in the Wrocław presentation. Cities can have a special role to initiate the urban-related innovation processes, and there are many good examples, as was shown in the EUROCITIES presentation. Wise mayors can make huge changes, and we have seen a lot of examples in the world where suddenly the change of the mayor changed the whole life of the urban environment in Curitiba and in many, many other cases. However, this is my understanding that many cities have outdated administration. So if we just think about European cities, Paris has an administration of 2 million people, which is completely outdated regarding the real size of Paris. If you look at Birmingham, if you look at Katowice, these cities have an administration, a mayor, who is not really responsible for the whole area which belongs to his city. So I think to change the administration would be very important in many cases. And this is where the regions should have a role, because the regions should really help the cities to be able to work together within their functional urban areas. But this is only a wish, because usually cities and regions don't like each other, and they, in usual case, they don't really work together. So really, to come closer to innovation, it would be very important to have a good relationship between regions, which are responsible for the innovation processes as well, and the cities who have real power in their own administration. And the final regard, again, I have to come back to my starting point, that Europe is still split in a lot of senses, and the joint programming initiative is a very interesting approach. There is no one new member state which is part of this joint programming initiative. So again, Europe has to make some efforts to include half Europe into the most innovative approaches, otherwise this half will be forgotten.
Thank you very much, Ivan. This is a message we take home, and I only want to add to that at the level of institutions, as we know, we have a very strong support for urban development and innovation, and we continue to seek to work with you in partnership. So with these words, I close this session. I want to thank you very much, the panelists, of your interventions, and I hope to see all of you in the gala dinner. So thank you very much for the participation.